guys, it's Kelly with Embroidery Nurse. So I get asked often about different things that we can use to embroider with. Can we use them? Is it going to mess up my machine? So I figured this would be a great stitch out for us to kind of show you and do together so you can feel more comfortable and realize that there are so many different kinds of materials that you can use when you embroider. So today, woo! In honor of my niece who loves all things sequins, we're going to do a flippy shirt. And, you know, we get that name because that's what she calls them. So you've seen, and I've got one right back here, the shirts where you can literally, you know, move it up and move it down, and it's two different color sequins. So much fun. But a lot of people are really nervous about embroidering with sequins. What is it going to do? Is it going to mess up my machine? How do I stabilize it? So we're going to do it together today. So let's get started. So I would agree, I was pretty hesitant the first time I did this as well. But you know, I just decided let's give it a go. Let's try it out once and let's see, you know, if it's worth it. And so I decided I would make my niece a shirt for Christmas. And so I did it and I fell in love with it, but I didn't really plan it in time to offer it to other people. So then I got the idea. Well, she loved it. It worked well. My machine is still running just as smoothly as it was before I started. So I decided let's do a Valentine's shirt. So you can see this is my Valentine's shirt and I fell in love with it. And so did all my customers. I posted it and you guys, I could not barely keep up with the orders. It was fun and they have really enjoyed it, and their kids are like, I need a new flippy shirt. So flip sequins, you know, one of the things that's important within, you know, any kind of business is to stay, you know, ahead and with the trends. And this is just a trend right now. Who knows if in 5-10 years anybody will wear anything with flip sequins on it. But right now it's really fun, and you'll see it anywhere. You know, that you're shopping, there's lots of different flip sequin shirts out there. So it's really fun to be able to create our very own. I bought my flip sequins from Amazon, and I will provide the link below so that you can look for them too, and just know that the place that I got them for, I encourage you to use them because they've been great. And I've actually bought several different yards now of different flip sequin fabrics. But you can see how cool this is. So basically, you know, this one is a red, and when you go up, it turns into gold. How awesome is that? So fun. Kids love these. And it's funny, my niece was, or my sister-in-law was telling me that they actually have rules, or they had to create rules at school as far as flippy shirts and, you know, friends being able to do your sequins or not. So I think that's so funny and so cute. But so here you go. So you literally just go up, and it's one color, and down, and it's another color. So really fun. You know, just kind of got the colors that coordinated with it, with the red here. So this is a really fun Valentine's one that we made. And so then I was like, all right, what's coming up next? Well, we've got St. Patrick's Day, you guys. So let's go ahead and do this together, and I'll show you step by step how we've done it. And you're really gonna, when we finish, realize that it's no different than any other applique that you do. And so hopefully you'll feel comfortable doing it and be able to create your own. So I did, what I often do is I will put out in my Facebook group, I will ask if anybody would like to do a sample shirt for me. My sample shirts are always $20. It covers the cost of the shirt, and it also covers the cost of the design if I don't already have it. And at times it will cover the cost of the fabric. Now I will say sequin fabric is a little bit more expensive than other fabrics that you buy by the yard. But by the time you sell, you know, two shirts, well, honestly, one to two shirts, you've sold, you've made your money back. So it's a win-win. So I posted on here that you got this amazing new fabric after we had success with the Valentine's shirts, and decided to do the shamrock. And so this is one of the samples that I'm going to show you today. I tend, or always, print out my designs. So this one, I actually only printed out one time. This is a shirt that I already made. This was a shirt for a little girl named Charlotte. Today I'm doing Emma's shirt, but I'm going to use the same printout because it's the exact same size. There's no reason to print it out again, save a little bit of ink along the way. So I'm going to refer to my order again just to make sure. I always say, and I think this is part of the nursing in me, you double check, triple check, quadruple check all your details before you start. So she wanted a size 6. I've got size 6, long sleeve. I have long sleeve, ruffle here, ruffle there, shirt. And it's a shamrock flippy shirt, shamrock flippy shirt. The name is Emma, E-M-M-A. Let's check my design here, E-M-M-A. Again, I think this goes back to my nursing career. You triple check everything just to make sure. You would hate to get done with this shirt and realize, oh my goodness, she wanted this on a cap sleeve shirt. So double check, triple check. I always print out my orders to make sure that I have them in front of me when I'm getting ready to start my project. So everything is good to go. I have my size 6 shirt here. This is a Blanks Boutique ruffle shirt. These are my absolute #1 best-selling shirts. So I'm going to take my shirt and find the exact middle of it. I use my ruler here, go across from one armpit to the next. That is 13.5, so that's going to be 6 3/4. I make a pin mark there. I have my pre-printed grid line here that is from my Embroidery software. I'm going to place it along that midpoint there. And everybody wants to know exactly like how far do you come down. You honestly, you eyeball it. Every shirt's gonna be different. You know where I want to put that 18-month design on, and the same design on a you know, size 10 shirt. It's gonna be all a little different. So just eyeball it. I don't use exact, and it's always been fine. And again, when we kind of triple check and double check, I also do that with my measurements. So I'm gonna go back and make sure. Perfect. That's exactly where I want it to be. So I have my design pinned to the shirt. 2 pins just to hold it there. We're going to turn it inside out. And we're going to use our no-show poly mesh. What I'm using today is Solvy. And I'll put the link below for that as well. My Durkee is the frame my frame of choice. This is my 9x9 frame that I use in all of my applique and t-shirt designs. So I take my bottom of my frame, put it against my no-show, get out the size that I need. I love the Solvy 12-inch roll because it basically is the exact size that I need for my Durkee frames. So I found that this is really helpful and just saves a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of waste when it comes to that. I use some spray adhesive. This is a Dritz brand, and I just put a little bit of adhesive on there. I prefer not to use the fusible. I feel like my machine didn't love it, or maybe it's just me. So I choose to use the non-fusible poly mesh and then just use a little bit of adhesive spray. So once I have it on there, I'm going to flip my design back to the right side. Just kind of flatten it out again, make sure that the no-show is in place. And then I'm going to slide my frame of my Durkee inside the shirt here. And kind of line it up, make sure it seems like it's in the middle of that design. And it does have a notch at the halfway points. So I try to get it, you know, pretty centered if it's a design that kind of spreads the whole perimeter. And, all right, I need to loosen it up a bit. Let me loosen the frame. That wasn't going on. Did you like my sound effects? Okay, so let's see. Let's try that again. Perfect. So then I do, once it's on there, tighten it up a little bit. I love this frame. I know there's, you know, so people in the camps of floating versus hooping, and there's so many different frames out there that you can use, but this one I've just had great success with. I feel like it has a really good tension when it's doing it, and I just feel like it's got a perfect work area. I've never had an issue with it being too small for applique shirts. Especially because I do them, you know, for children. This is a size 6, so that's, you know, a pretty decent size shirt. And I really don't change the size of the design. This is the same, template I would use for an 18-month shirt. And I've always felt like they all looked very appropriate. So this, let me show you my new stash of, oh, here it is, flippy fabric. So I already showed you the one that I used for Valentine's. It was the gold and red. I thought that was super fun to have those two colors. So that's the gold and red. This comes in, well, you can buy it how much you want, but I've been buying a yard at a time, just to kind of see what the supply or demand is for the shirts. So the next one I bought, I was like, oh, I bet there's such a pretty green out there. And there was, and I loved it. So this green turns to silver. So I thought that was super fun for the shamrock shirt. So green that turns to silver. And while I've got it out, let me just show you my other colors. So this was the Christmas one that I bought all this fabric, but then didn't really have time to make them. Did make one for my niece, so that was worth it. But it's green and red. I mean, how fun was that? So I made her a Christmas tree that she could flip to green to red. So I know there'll be some other cute Christmas designs that I can use this for, but I do feel like this is kind of more holiday-y with the red and green. But super excited to use that next year. So lots of fun to come. And then I just got this in the mail yesterday. So you really want to stay ahead of holidays, right? So it's January right now. I've already finished all of our Valentine's. Valentine's is out. Those are done, moved on. In my mind, that holiday is over, even though it hasn't even arrived. But in our world, we really do have to be ahead of the trend or ahead of the holiday. So, I'm working on all of my St. Patrick's Day shirts right now. So again, it's January right now for me. I'm not sure when you're watching this, but just to get an idea of the time frame, January, I'm doing St. Patrick's Day, but I'm also planning in advance my Easter. Easter is in April this year. And so I went ahead and put out a sample, see if anybody would like to be a sample for me, a sample shirt. Because they, are familiar with me and my group, a lot of them have been with me since the beginning of my embroidering. They feel comfortable and know that, what I'm going to, make for them is going to look well. They've purchased from me before, so they feel comfortable not even seeing the design and saying, I'm in. So it's several people that wanted to be a sample, but I really just take one, but hopefully the others will order them outright. But this was just to do a bunny. So this is Easter, a bunny and flippy fabric with a name. And so how fun is this? This turquoise and fuchsia. Y'all, how awesome is that? Turquoise and fuchsia. So I bought this from the same company that I bought the other ones from. So I'll post this one after I finish it as well. But that turquoise and fuchsia, let me get some more fuchsia. How awesome is that? How cute would that be for a bunny? So it comes backed, just so you can see it, with this black, the back of it is black. You really can't see it through. I mean, if you notice here, you don't really see any of the black through there. But it does provide an extra, layer. It's what holds the sequins to the fabric, or I guess it is the fabric itself. So just know that that's how it comes. And don't be scared when you get it to cut. It's a mess. Oh my goodness, my house is covered in sequins right now. My husband was like, "Where are all these sequins coming from?" I'm like, "I've got new flippy fabric." So, we first had red flippy fabric out there, then we had, the green sequins, and now I'm getting ready to have some turquoise and purple. So it's a mess. Just have your vacuum ready when you're done doing these projects, because you'll need it. The stuff just kind of goes flying. So I went ahead and pre-cut. I just use my regular scissors, y'all. I don't use anything different. I know some people are like, "Oh, I can't use my scissors for anything other than fabric." Well, this is fabric, and you know what? I cut everything with these, but I do get them serviced, meaning I get them sharpened every once in a while. These are my Ginger. Ginger, is that how you spell it? I don't know how you spell it. Gingher. Anyway, I love these. I've had these for years and years and years and years and years. These are my scissors. No one else uses them, but I use them on everything. So they've worked perfect for me. So I went ahead and cut this, and you'll notice when you cut it that the stuff just kind of goes flying, and that's okay. You'll have pieces everywhere. Just be prepared. So I went ahead and cut the size. I do not use Heat and Bond Light on this because it's already pretty tight. It's not gonna move around, and it's not gonna shred or you know, be an issue. So I do not put anything on the back of that. I tend to want to do the main color where the sequins are down. So you do want to pay attention to that. And then when someone moves it up, that's when the color will change. So for instance, this one, the main color and what it will be most of the time will be the green. So I'm gonna have the green where it's facing down. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna put it on the machine, and I will definitely show you close-ups of these stitching out so you can see that as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and line up this design. And let's see, I match it up to the grid line exactly. I take off my template. I am using Floriani, that's always my thread of choice. And I'm using True Green. So it's Floriani 200 is True Green. And it's perfect for St. Patrick's Day. And then I'm doing the name in black. So let me set my colors to True Green and black. I was going to do gold because I'm like, oh, how cute, like the pot of gold for St. Patrick's Day. But then when I realized that the sequins that I had were silver, I thought that might, I don't know, not go as well. So that's why I stuck with the black, which is what I did on this shirt as well. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the first stitch of that. So it's going to do the outline, the placement stitch. And again, you want to make sure that you put the sequins that they are down. I run my machine on full speed, unless I'm doing something that's real intricate, which I don't normally do. Down. So I'm just going to go ahead and put our sequin fabric the same way I would do if I was doing any other applique. So place it right over that. Make sure my sequins are down. And you also want to make sure that, you know, after you've messed with it, that all the sequins are going the same direction, because it will stitch one up and it will be forever stuck up if you do that. Stuck up. Don't be stuck up. So you want to make sure, you know, before that stitch goes around, that they are all nicely laying flat so that they don't get stitched up forever. All right, so that looks good. So we'll go ahead and give it a go. Okay. So that's going to do our placement stitch, or our tack down stitch. With this machine to stitch right through this. Zero hesitation. It didn't have any issues. It didn't slow it down. It didn't make some weird funky noise with the needle. It honestly stitched just like it would anything else. There is zero difference to the way it works. So now I am going to cut it out. I normally sit down when I'm doing my little cutouts. I don't know why, that just seems a little bit easier for me to get a good grasp of what I'm doing. But, you know, I'll just show you that. So, I mean, it doesn't look any different than any other applique that you do. But again, I did make sure that all of the sequins were down so that when it stitched it, they were all stitched in the same direction. How pretty is that? I mean, just that green alone is fantabulous. But then when you have a little bit of silver up in there, how fun. So we'll go ahead and cut it. Trying to do it so you can actually see it. But I cannot do it like that. So, all right, let me just sit and show you. See if you can see it. Perfect. So these are my just regular Fiskars little scissors that I use for all my appliques. I'll put a link to those below as well. And I definitely have to do a little bit more oomph to cutting it. And you want to cut it as close as you possibly can, just like with any embroidery. So you want to make sure you have nice sharp scissors here. And there are some things that I do feel like over time where my scissors, get dull. And I don't buy the crazy expensive ones. I buy the ones where, you know what, these aren't working as well as they did. So I go get a new one. Now, I don't know if you're seeing this from your view, but I mean, these little sequins are flying. They're kind of flipping off as I cut, but it's doable. It doesn't cut, again, as easily as just regular old fabric, but it's not giving me, any issues with cutting it. It just gonna... All you have to do once you cut out the design is just kind of pop the sequins off. It's a little bit messier than, some projects you do, but you just need to have your trash can ready and your vacuum ready for when you're done. But you'll notice that, you're able to get just as close as most any applique. One huge, point that I didn't mention earlier was you definitely want to find designs that are open, that allow you to have a large surface area to use for flip fabrics. You don't want a lot of detail or whatnot, or any detail inside of your design that's going to hold the sequins down. And you definitely want a design that is a satin stitch. You don't want to use any other thing other than satin stitch to hold your flip fabric down. Or sequin fabric down. You don't want to use bean stitch, zigzag, vintage stitch. This project is a satin stitch project, in my opinion. It's going to hold the sequins in place, especially because this is going to be a design that kids are going to be going, oh look, oh look, oh look, oh look, oh look. So you want to make sure that it's, that it's held down very well. And it will also cover, any design you do, you want to test it first and just make sure, you want to make sure that it's got a decently wide satin stitch so that it will cover, the whole area, because it is a little bit harder to get to the edge. But I mean, I think I did a pretty good job getting it right there by the edge. But a good, decent satin stitch will make sure to cover up any edges that might not have been perfect. Like, maybe that sequin right there popped out a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the machine and let it stitch away. And our sweet Emma will have her St. Patrick's Day shirt ready. So if you have any questions about anything that, I did in this video, please let me know. I'll try to put links below. Hope you have fun stitching this out. And just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try new things. Flippy fabric is super fun, and it's my new favorite. And I'm already trying to figure out what am I do for, the next holiday. What flippy fabric can I use? What colors can I use? Super excited about the bunny. So I'll show that when I do it. But post your projects below. I can't wait to see what you do with this fun fabric.